Welcome to the Energy Pipeline Podcast. My name is Josh Lowry. We are coming to you from beautiful Tucson, Arizona at the 2026 Energy Workforce Technology Council annual meeting, where the theme this year is powering or energizing the future. And I am joined today by, good to see you, by the way.
Pleasure.
I'm joined by Chris Berrie, the Senior Sales Manager, Customer Facing, Midstream, E&P, Capital Accounts, Corporate Accounts, excuse me.
Yes.
Not Capital Accounts. I've been dealing with some finance guys recently, so Capital Accounts is fresh on the brain here.
Yeah.
I told you before we started that the intro is my least favorite part. Look at the camera, get it all right. How are you doing?
Doing well. Pleased to be here, and as I say, great setting for our meeting.
Before we get into this, I asked you if you've done a podcast. You said you've not only been on one, but you've hosted.
A few times, yes.
Have you the intro, or were you like a guest host and you were the co-host?
A little bit of both, but let's just say there was multiple takes for my intros, so I can fully appreciate.
Yeah, we won't tell the people how many takes I had on that one, but isn't this great?
Oh, it's just beautiful. I mean, what a spot for us to be in today. And
it is awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully the audience, by the way, if you're just listening to us on audio, this is a great segue to say, go check out caterpillar.com, oil and gas, and look at the videos, because on video right now, we are sitting outside overlooking hole number 18 at Las Ventanas, the Dove Mountain, Los Ventanas. Las Ventanas is a golf course over in Central Texas there, so great course. But are you playing tomorrow?
I'm not. I'll be sort of partaking in some of the other activities through the week.
Are you a golfer?
I'm not. I'd embarrass myself on the course, I dare say. So I'll let others from our team partake in that activity, but I'll be with you all with some of the other activities.
I think Craig Lang is out here this trip, isn't he? He's speaking.
He's one of the moderators.
That's right. He's a former guy with you guys. That's right.
No, he retired from Caterpillar after a great and
great career. Yeah, I love Craig.
So I've got a lot of time for Mr. Lang and look forward to seeing him today. But he's actually moderating one of the panels.
Good. Yeah, a lot of good. This is a great event. All right, let's get to this here. We got a lot to talk about. Thank you for meeting with us today.
No, thanks for hosting.
I always see. Thank you. You're already a good guest. We had breakfast before you going. We had breakfast this morning, and perfect morning, and we asked the waitress, who said, can we sit outside? She's like, oh, it's a little buggy. And I'm like, a little buggy? You're not from Houston. You don't know Little Buggy.
Oh, this is just nice.
Yeah, like now that we're out there, there's a couple bugs.
Yeah.
This isn't Houston though. No. This is great. All right, why don't you just give the audience a quick sample of who you are, where you came from, how you got to where you're going, and then we'll get into the whole shtick here.
Sure, yeah. Chris Berrie, Cat Oil and Gas, out of our Houston office, currently lead one of our commercial teams, customer facing on the relationship side, and our team, the customer relationship team over midstream gas compression, power generation activities, as well as our E&P customers through that value chain. So I've been in the role a few months now.
Okay.
Prior to this, I headed up a similar team, but on the drilling completion side. And of course, beyond my role at Cat Oil and Gas, an active member in the Energy Workforce Technology Council, and that's who have brought us all together in this great setting, as you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, you just blew through with some really big stuff there. You've actually had quite a great career so far. You mentioned the Energy Workforce Technology Council. For those of you who don't know, EWTC, also formerly called PISA, and been around for 95 years, close to 95 years. Great organization. If you're not a member of it, I highly encourage you to be a part of it. You're the vice chair of the Emerging Executives Committee.
I was.
You were.
So I've held a couple
Who gave me my notes? I'm apparently 3 months off on everything.
That's okay.
Here.
Not a problem. No, I mean, as Caterpillar, we're proud members of the association.
Mm-hmm.
Have been for many, many years. A great team, and encourage others to reach out, engage. But no, I was formerly the chair of the Emerging Executives Committee. I currently head up as chair the International Committee.
Okay.
It's just a joy and a pleasure to represent Caterpillar with EWTC. Now,
I'm only laughing because this happened to me. Did you age out of the emerging?
I did. So in fact, they, I probably, through COVID and all the other things at that time, I probably overstayed my tenure.
You're one of these college kids that got 6 years of eligibility. And
yeah, indeed. And then it was time I had to rotate out, and then Molly reached out and said, "Hey, we've got another assignment for you."
Right.
And of course, I accepted the offer straight away, and lead one of our international programs committees where we engage and educate, and we do a lot of work with some of the State Department through the year.
Right.
It's a great position. Part of my extracurricular activities outside of Caterpillar Oil and Gas.
Well, I call that the business of business.
Yes.
You need to do it. And I'm looking at you again, back to your just career. Why would they even think about you putting on the international? Obviously, your accent's not from Texas.
Yep.
If it is, it's a part of Texas I haven't been to.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of history internationally.
I do, and Caterpillar, global company. So it's been a great journey. Nearly 18 years with Caterpillar now.
Okay.
Specifically
really?
with our oil and gas and energy group. And then the last 7 or so out of our corporate office here out of Houston, I should say. My journey with Caterpillar is, giving me opportunities to travel internationally, meet customers globally across the different areas of our business. It's a great opportunity for me to then leverage some of that experience with the international program.
So you've been with Caterpillar for 18 years.
Yes, sir.
Primarily or all oil and gas?
That's right, absolutely.
That's kind of unique, actually. How long has Caterpillar had an oil and gas division? At 18 years?
Plus, more than 18 years.
Okay.
As we structured oil and gas out of some of our power systems business prior. Now, of course, Caterpillar has been in the oil and gas since its creation, if you will. Decades and decades ago.
Yeah, I know they've been serving oil and gas for sure.
But as a group,
right?
I want to say, it's probably been over 2.5 decades now.
Okay.
Around that. Yeah. Don't quote me on that.
No. Well, by the way, even the reason I'm saying that is that listen, this is not a knock on Caterpillar by any means, because there is nothing, if you've heard any of my other podcasts, which, by the way, another segue to go listen to these, there's not a world you can touch in manufacturing, which is my background, that you don't touch Caterpillar at some level, or construction, or mining, or right? Yeah. And, so for Caterpillar, when they go into a market segment, they come in with lots of a decade worth of strategy thinking and thought, and then execution.
Oh, absolutely. And, the joy of working at Caterpillar is as well that we can leverage, our technologies, ways of helping our customers from other segments of our business, as you mentioned, resource industries, construction, just to name a few. So as we see opportunities in adjacent areas of our business, we can leverage what we're doing in other areas as well, and vice versa, of course.
Well, back to me being the greatest podcast host ever, where do you think that what you just said shifts to naturally right now?
Well, I think what we're seeing right now, as Cat Oil and Gas, is the need for power generation.
This guy's the best. That's exactly where I was going.
And we've seen some of the ERCOT projections, over through 2030, for example, and some pretty bold statements made by ERCOT. I think 150 gigawatts by 2030. I think.
What does that even mean to the average person?
Oh, it's just a tremendous amount of growth, and beyond that growth, from ERCOT, I think it's around 14 gigawatts in just the Permian alone. And we're obviously looking, what's driving that demand, and for sure it's the data center, the AI, boom, if you will, that we're seeing right now. But what we're looking at is Cat Oil and Gas is, how does that impact our customers, the exploration production companies, the service companies, and how do we help them achieve their power goals when maybe they don't have access to reliable grid power, or if there's a shortage or interruption of, utility power because of, the supply and demand gap. We're doing a lot of work in that space right now, and looking at what technologies and solutions we can provide as we speak to our customers, working customer back, understanding their problems, and using the breadth of Caterpillar to see where we can provide solutions and services to help them with their end goals.
So, I mean, let's just stick with you on your oil and gas experience, because I feel like what we're talking here is, I mean, since we're at Energy Workforce meeting, right? Let's say the whole name, Energy Workforce Technology Council, right?
So
This is something that this technology that we're describing for the energy business. This probably touches everything from drilling all the way. You mentioned E&P, but nothing really happens until the bit hits the ground.
Yeah. So within the Cat Oil and Gas space, we're very lucky and fortunate that we touch a multitude of areas through the value stream. So if you look at upstream, for example, the drilling, from the drill bit on up, right? You got to drill, complete the well in the completion space or fracking, and then through to then production. How do you transport those molecules? How do you compress the natural gas? How do you store the natural gas? All the way down, through to retail, and as Cat Oil and Gas, as well as our adjacent spaces in our construction division, for example, we touch all of that value chain in some fashion, way or another. So yeah, we are highly focused right now on those technologies, those services we can bring from where the journey begins in the upstream activities, from drilling all the way through to production.
So I heard somebody talking last night about how everybody wants to be on the grid, but not possible, right? So behind the meter, which is the world that you guys are playing in, right?
That's right.
So what does that demand look? Have you ever seen anything like this in your career?
I mean, it's certainly an exciting time for us right now, and we mentioned just earlier the supply and demand gap that we're seeing from the utility, and that's where our customers are looking at. And you mentioned it right there. Is it behind the meter? Is it a microgrid, so completely off grid? And what technologies are out there at their disposal in order to provide their power for their long-term goals? And as Caterpillar Oil and Gas, we've been working with our customers very heavily, using natural gas as that fuel. Whether that be natural gas recip generators, if you will, our G3520, for example, the 2.5 megawatt block, and or our solar turbines division,
right.
4 megawatts and on up, using an abundant, relatively low cost fuel, natural gas, at the wellhead or in basin, and that allows our customers to build up their needs, whether it be behind the meter, whether it's true island mode, or a combination thereof, to power their long-term strategies.
I'm sitting here thinking about how, while you're talking, it's difficult to host these podcasts as a single host, because you get so enthralled with what you're saying that I only want to listen. I just want to listen, but I have questions that I want to ask and I need to ask, but all I can think about when you're talking is, man, this guy is so perfectly positioned from 18 years in oil and gas, from drilling to again, actually, there's a lot of value in coming from a mining, for instance, and then you understand different techniques, et cetera. But to be able to go to an E&P guy today and say, hey, you're going to want to think about this.
Sure.
Because here's what I dealt with in 2008.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm
that's
only
unique. That really is unique.
Yeah, and I'm only as good as the team that support the Caterpillar or Caterpillar Enterprise, as well as Cat Oil and Gas, and we've just got the most talented individuals in the team. Those subject matter experts we can pull in, whether it be power generation for drilling, whether it's power generation for gas mechanical drive for frac, for example, or it's looking how do we further optimize our midstream space with our natural gas engines that help transport those molecules and store those molecules. It's great being in that position where I can draw from a wealth of experience. I'm 18 years, but there's a lot of folks who are beyond my tenure within oil and gas and as Caterpillar, so we can leverage all of that subject matter expertise as we talk to our customers and help try and solve their problems.
It needs to be stated. We've said this before, but not everybody listens to every podcast, and that's fine. But Caterpillar's 100 years this year, 100 years old.
We're celebrating that. That's right.
That's incredible.
is amazing, and we're very proud of that.
You and they should be, right? It's a big deal.
It is.
Man, that's incredible. Back to EWTC hitting 90, I think again 94, 95 years this year.
Yep.
And Molly and Tim, the co-CEOs of the organization, I talk with them quite a bit on certain things, and you realize, there was another Chris at Caterpillar 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. There's another Josh at EWTC 60, 70 years ago. Sure. And at some level, your job and my job, and person X listening to this across the way, we have to leave these things better than we found them. Mm-hmm. Whoever was the Chris 50 years ago probably never dreamed that Caterpillar was going to have an oil and gas division that would go from drilling into behind the grid power.
Oh yeah.
And data centers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just an amazing, but I bet you that guy had, or girl for that matter, had a level of excellence that you carry today. I bet they did their job just as focused today then as we do today. Isn't it amazing how that kind of, when you think about that cycle of excellence, to go for 100 years?
Yeah.
Because if Chris wouldn't have done a good job in 1950, you wouldn't be here today.
True, and it's how do we take that legacy and look to the next 100 years, right? And keep investing in our people, mm-hmm. keep investing in the technologies that we develop to serve our customers, and continue that legacy. And it's energy and oil and gas is a great example of it, because we're innovators, and every day, every week, every month, we're hearing it at these events that we're at today or this week, and,
right.
and others that it's a very innovative area of our business, which is the thrill for me.
So we'll come back to this here, but what are you hearing internally within Caterpillar of hey, we're at 100, but we're going to 200? What kind of mindset is there for that 200th?
Yeah, I think, for sure, and we've been doing this already, in oil and gas, and we're going to continue to do this going forward. It's really being customer back and being close with our customers, understanding their biggest challenges, their needs, and working back from there to say, okay, well, how do we leverage the breadth of Caterpillar to help solve those, and help their operations. And we've spoken a little bit earlier on this podcast on the natural gas power generation, but we're leveraging that across the segments. You look at drilling, for example. A couple decades ago would have been all diesel power. Mm-hmm. Then we introduced our DGB, the dynamic gas blending element, right, to then help offset some of the the diesel cost emissions, and as you bring in natural gas, and we continue to innovate on that, and we've just launched our DGB Gen 2, again pushing the boundary of how much natural gas we can then use in combustion there, and that's a meaningful impact to our customers, because it's lower fuel cost for their operation, lower emissions, of course, without any compromise on performance, and that's just drilling, and we're looking at across the. Well,
but speaking to that matters. We're not in easier places to drill anymore. You're right. And so I would imagine that power becomes the constraint at some level where they can drill. So how are the technologies affecting where people can drill, and what you guys are doing? Like that access to power, is that dictating where people can drill?
I think it's...
Or develop assets, probably a better way to say that.
Yeah, I think as, some of the customers look at, where those wells are, they're going to look at, okay, how do we fuel that rig? Is it close to a utility? And is there the supply to, connect that rig to the infrastructure? And, for the points raised just earlier, that the supply and demand gap is meaningful. Mm-hmm. And, that's a challenge right now. And then they're looking, okay, well, what other alternatives do we have? And, natural gas is at location or in basin. It's low cost, relatively low emissions. And how do we use natural gas in other operations such as drilling, like they have been doing already and for decades in gas compression? And we're seeing the same for well service or the completion space, where, again, we as Caterpillar developed our DGB in frac.
Tell everybody what that is real quick, just so they know.
Dynamic gas blending. So it's the technology of using natural gas to displace diesel in combustion. So
the site.
On engine, absolutely. So whether that be field gas, CNG pipeline. We can run on a variety of gases, which is great.
Unbelievable.
It gives a lot of great flexibility. But again, it's what does that really mean to the operator or the customer? It's lower fuel cost without any interruption for their operational performance, and they get the added benefit of lower emissions footprint as well. So, like we've done in drilling, we brought out different options in frac or completions, and recently we've been talking about our GMS gas mechanical system, where it's 100% natural gas driven a drivetrain for completions. So again, just another example where through the value chain of upstream through to midstream and downstream, where we're looking at different technologies.
I feel like we saw, didn't Andy's behind the camera today. He loves this job when we're on site. Usually it's Hanar or Caitlin. Didn't we hear a stat of like 80% savings on cost on some of these? Am I making this number up for you guys?
On the dynamic gas blending,
yes.
For example,
it was something just absurdly efficient.
We've demonstrated that we've got upwards of 70% plus displacement of diesel to natural gas.
Yes, that's
per
what
engine, and then beyond that, now with our full gas, the GMS gas mechanical system, we can do 100% natural gas on that trailer.
That's unbelievable.
So it gives flexibility to our customers and allows them to lower their fuel cost. There's an emissions benefit.
Yes,
there
this
as
is
well,
what we're talking. The emissions, safety, money. Like that's what we were talking about on that. Like when you really break down like the true value to that, it's not just $1.
No, it's
significant.
It's meaningful.
Yes, it is
to customer operations. Absolutely.
My favorite joke I like to make when we do these is to tell your communications team that they give me a bunch of notes that I don't. Your team is so smart, and they give me all these great, really well worked notes, and I'm like, do they really think I can read all this? So I try to get to certain things, and I'm like, I don't even know what this word is. What am I supposed to do here? But thank you. They do a great job.
Not a problem.
I mean, listen. What do I need? What do I need to know? What is that? What do the people need to know, Chris?
Well, I think
you've been a co-host before, and help me. Yeah. Let's make this. What is? We talked about the widget.
Yeah.
What's the widget going to do for people? Like when you're out there really selling and talking and building, what are you really trying to get people to understand?
Well, I think it's working.
This is my favorite part.
Yeah, I think it's working customer back to understand what they want to achieve at their specific location, and using the right technology fit for their needs. And then beyond that, we spoke a little bit as we were getting set up, today of, it's, yes, you can have the solutions, but how do you optimize those, right? It's how do you optimize, those solutions at site. So beyond, gas power generation that we've spoken about, it's, okay, how do we bring, site level controls to optimize where the energy is coming from? How are you loading those assets to get best optimal performance and efficiency for the site? How do we incorporate other technologies like energy storage with a control strategy to complement the gas power generation? So it's looking at all those different facets to really provide the most optimal solution, which again has meaningful impact to the customers as you talk efficiency and lowering their cost of operation.
I don't think I've ever given an answer that professional my entire life.
Thank you.
I really don't. As you were talking, I'm like, is it his accent? Or is he just that good at what he does?
Well, I mean, we love what we do, and as I say, I've got...
How big is your team? Because you're probably building it out. You've been there a couple...
Yeah, as I say, I think Caterpillar, as we look at Cat Enterprise, I'd have to look at our recent earnings call, but I think we're over 100,000 people as Caterpillar. And then if you include our dealer network, which...
I love those guys. You got some great dealer network people.
We do, and that adds again an additional workforce to Caterpillar Inc. And we've got some great dealers that actually some are representing this week with this event, and that's a huge strength for Caterpillar, having global dealers close to the customers, local service, and looking after those customer operations. So if you if you look at the Caterpillar family between dealer and Caterpillar, we've got huge amount of expertise, and that allows me to learn from my colleagues.
Do you go work with the dealer networks as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you go where you need to go.
Yep. As I say, we've got great link. We've got great teams that work day in, day out with our dealers. The team I represent also do the same. So it's a one team approach.
Just looking at my questions here, they actually have this is a pretty good question. Is it going to be a technology limitation or an infrastructure limitation as you see it going forward?
Well,
I like that question.
No, it's a very, very insightful question. We spoke about ERCOT's projections over 150 gigawatts by 2030. We know that, some infrastructure, the wait time for permits, building out infrastructure is not a 1 year or 2 year time frame. It's in the 5 to 10 years, for example.
Right.
So for sure, the infrastructure will build out, but I think as customers have looked at gas power generation initially as a bridge strategy, I think longer term, that's probably a longer term plan, over, 5 to 10 year period,
right,
rather than a short term bridge strategy as they look at natural gas power generation whilst waiting for some of the infrastructure to come online, which,
okay, it'll be here.
There's plans, it'll be here, but as
a minute, it's going to be a minute.
It's going to be a minute,
right?
And you look at the sheer demand growth, and again, it's for sure being energized by the data center, the AI,
yes,
boom, and I think Daniels came out with a stat the other day of they saw that total data centers for the U.S. Energy would be on the high side 17%, I think, of total power. So it is a huge growth. The infrastructure has to and will grow out, but it's the timing and when that comes online. And that's where we mentioned on some of our customers, they have strategic plans in the oil and gas arena, and they're going to look to gas powered microgrids, behind the meter, island mode, if you will, as they need the power to fuel their strategy.
I always ask people, I'm a huge believer in that we're not in an AI, there's lots of bubbles going on. The one I'm not a big believer is that I don't believe we're in an AI bubble. I think that, do you use any of the AIs at all?
Sure, and again, I'm an early learner, if you will,
yeah,
just on the fringes of
trying to test things out
of its capabilities and whatnot. And for sure, as with anything, things will become more efficient.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen lately, and we'll have to just continue to keep close to it, is it's certainly driving a lot of demand for power right now.
Well, and so my question always goes, so I ask people, are you an AI user? People are like, yes, I am, for the most part, right? And then you say, all right, is your wife or husband? Yes, or maybe no, it's depending, right? Okay, great. Is your mom? No. Okay. Then we're not in a bubble yet. Mm-hmm. Until your mom and your sisters and your brothers and your dads and your cousins, until they're all on it, we're not in a bubble. Because until it's touching everyone that you know's life in some way,
yeah,
we're just not there. And because there's so much technology that's about to come out, mm-hmm, and it's going to happen immediately,
quickly, yeah,
very quickly. And by quickly, quickly used to be 5 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I don't even think I'm on a limb here when I say we're talking 24 months mm-hmm, in some of these transitions. So I just believe in it. And I believe Caterpillar is perfectly positioned. So, again, I appreciate you coming on this. I appreciate you kind of messing with us. I mean, you really went on a limb here to come out and just slum it with us.
No, I mean, we appreciate the invitation.
So before I let you go, tell us what you're working on with the EWTC. You're in the International Committee. Yep. Have it already started for you, or are you about to go onto that committee?
Oh no, I've been in the seat now, through last year as well.
Okay.
So we were fortunate enough to host a delegation from the State Department earlier this year, and part of the energy workforce is, one of their pillars is the educate pillar of the energy workforce, and we hosted as a community of member companies as well as the EWTC themselves, through a week worth of education with the U.S. State Department.
It's a great organization they do that.
It is, and they got
or program, I should say.
It is, and and we appreciate the service for those foreign officers as well. But it's great. They get to come in, that they get to speak to member companies. They get to hear about some of the technologies through
To actually see it.
To see it, through the member companies of the energy workforce. And as they go back to their postings, they get a flavor of what the energy industry's up to, and that hopefully helps them in their
Well, you're a
posting
good addition to that for sure. So that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Is there anything we've missed? That the people need to know?
No, I think we touched on a lot of the key activities which we're involved, all the way from the wellhead through to completions midstream and downstream activities. I mean, for me, it's a big thank you really to yourself, for hosting us today.
Dude, love you guys.
And
I've become a big fan of Caterpillar during this process.
Oh,
I mean,
pleased to hear that.
Look, Caterpillar's it's Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? It's a brand you grew up with, and you just always saw it. And again, I go back to what we said off camera. You just forget that it's 100,000 plus people doing something for 100 years.
It is, and
excellently.
And a lot of folks, they know us from things that they grew up with. Right? It could have been the machines, the mining.
Right.
But as I say, as we speak to our customers and we educate them, that there's a lot of things that we support our broader network with, and it's a continued education on what we can do. So
well, thank you very much for your time.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for hosting us. Thank you, sir.
Well, listen, that wraps us up for today from beautiful Tucson, Arizona, the 2026 Energy Workforce Technology Council annual meeting. Thank you very much, Chris, for your time today. If you have any questions, look us up at caterpillar.com oil and gas. They actually, you guys, back to your communications team, it's very easy to index any subject you're interested in looking into. Just kind of go there, type it in, and you can find whatever you want to talk about. I'm Josh Lowry. Look us up on all our social media channels. Thank you very much for your time today.